Hello, my fellow Tagalog learners. How's everyone doing today? Here where I live, it's been raining a lot and the nights have been a lot colder. So all is well here. Today I wanted to talk about how to learn Tagalog. When we learn another language, it's difficult, but we have to stick with it and we can do this. And also, I find that Oriental languages in particular seems to be like they're a little more harder, which Tagalog is an Oriental language, but we can remember that a lot of the words have a Latin base from the Spanish that used to rule over the Philippine Islands. So with our consistent effort, we can learn Tagalog. So the first step and tip I have for you to learn Tagalog is you have to decide solidly that you want to learn Tagalog and not just wish you knew it. Because there's lots of things we wish we could do, but it's only the ones that we really firmly set in our mind that we're going to learn that we do succeed in that. And so also when we daydream about, oh, when I learn this language, I'll be able to talk to Filipinos and this, that, and the other. A lot of times we lie to ourselves. And these daydreams are actually lies to ourselves and not reality. So when we want to learn a language like Tagalog, we need to firmly decide that that's what we're going to do and stick to it. The number 2 tip is we have to make a battle plan. We have to know what our learning style is. Different people learn in different ways. I personally am a visual learner. So that's how I tailor the way I study the language of Tagalog. So make a plan. And with this plan comes in tip number 3. We have to have short-term goals and long-term goals. Short-term goals could be like, well, I'm going to learn a new word every day and learn how to use it in a sentence. Whereas a long-term goals could be, I'm going to be able to read an article in Tagalog and I'll know exactly what it's saying. I may not know every single word, but I can understand the gist of what the article is saying. That would be a long-term goal. And those are some excellent goals. Now, tip number 4 is once we have our plan and once we have our goals, we have to work on those every single day. Because it takes hours, it takes days, it takes years to learn another language. And so we need to act on our plans and our goals every single day. For instance, read something out loud in Tagalog every day. Because when you're reading it out loud, you're seeing it, you're hearing it, and you're speaking it. And so that emphasizes the language into your mind. And tip number 5 is converse with people that speak that language, like in TV programs that has the captions down below in Tagalog, so you can hear it and you can also see it. And so you'll understand how things are spelled or how words are formed. Videos like singing karaoke. Karaoke is really big in the Philippines. And so when you're singing karaoke in Tagalog songs, actually that helps in 2 different ways. First, you're seeing it, saying it, and hearing it. And second, music has beats. It's measured in time. And so the words in Tagalog will be broken up in syllables, which is excellent to be able to learn the language. So with all these tips in mind, I wanted to share with you how I work at learning the language of Tagalog. So first, I really want to learn this language. I am married to a Filipino. So I would like to be able to converse in a language he knows, one of his mother tongues. I appreciate that he learned American English to discuss things with me. So I know in turn he would appreciate it if I learned Tagalog. He's actually a Cebuano, but Tagalog is the language that he has spoken most in his life. So This is something I really want to do. So I study it every single day for hours, days, and years. This is my 6th year in studying Tagalog. And I find, see, this is my 5th language that I've learned. And I find after about 5 years, that 5-year mark is critical. It's like going upstairs. You go upstairs and you get to a landing, and you feel like when you look up, oh man, there's so many stairs yet to get up to the 3rd or 4th floor. But when you look behind you, you see how far you've come. It's same with the language. About the 5-year mark is where I see that I'm actually making progress. I've still got a long ways to go, but I've made progress and I feel more comfortable with it. So this is that stick-to-itiveness that we need to have. Second, like I said, I'm a visual learner, so I have found textbooks, websites, and I have Filipino friends that help me. And that's where these lists, those vocabulary lists come from. And I study them all the time because I can see it. I practice saying the word, so I'm saying it, I'm also hearing it, those 3 steps. And especially in music, because those words are broken down in syllables and I can listen to them. And there's something else I want to share when I get down to my 5th step. So 3, my short-term goal is to learn a new word every day and to use it in a sentence. And I'll use it over and over and over that same day until my brain can remember it. Then my long-term goal is to be able to read a story and know all the words and their meanings. Now I'm to the point where I can read an article or a story and I get the gist of what they're saying. I don't know every single word yet, so I'm still working on that. And so the words I don't know, I underline in the book or the article and I look it up in the dictionary. Then above the word, I write down what that word means in American English. And then those become my vocabulary words, and then I study those lists of words every day. When I follow tip number 4, I read out loud every day in Tagalog. And like I said, the words I don't know become my vocabulary words, and I make these lists. I've got pages and pages and pages of lists of vocabulary words that I carry around with me, and I read these. It's really nice when you're walking on the treadmill to go over these words, because when you're walking on the treadmill or like a stationary bike, your blood is a-flowing and it's got extra oxygen and it's going to your brain and it helps you learn better. So then, of course, when I have there's a website, and I had typed in the core 100 words in Tagalog, and I have all these words. Those are vocabulary words. And then I start out with a children's book. So in my children's book, you can see that I have read the story, and I've underlined the words I didn't know, and I put the English equivalent on top of it. So then when I read it again, it makes more sense for when I read it. And then I have this book that it's a little harder reading level. So you'll see that there's even more words underlined here that I didn't know. But that's how I learn. It's tactile, it's color coding, it's underlining. I can see what these words are and make vocabulary words. Now, the thing about some of these books, I also have the ebook of it. This one's so old, it doesn't have the audio book. But some of the newer books, you can download your ebook, and then on top, you can push play, and the native speaker will read it to you. So then you can hear how the words are actually said. So I make my lists, I read aloud every day, and then I study those words. And then on the last step, I make an effort to speak only Tagalog with my Filipino friends. And what's neat about that is they're trying to learn American English. So they speak American English to me, and I speak Filipino or Tagalog to them. And in that way, we're both learning. And that's an excellent way, because not only will they help you get the verb tenses right, which is very difficult in Tagalog, but they help me say the words right, and they help me be able to put the grammar correctly in the sentence. And then I am able to use my vocabulary words, and my effort on learning their language makes them happy, and that makes our friendship even closer. So these are just a few tips and tricks that I have learned that I wanted to share with you, and to emphasize that this is something that can be very rewarding, but it takes a lot of hard work, and we can do this. So until next time, study hard.